Web2App funnels, with explaining when to launch web funnels, what is that, and why you need to launch a funnel. And today we have two wonderful guests, one of Kirill and Hannah. Guys, introduce yourself.
Go ahead, Kirill.
Hello everyone, I'm Kirill. I'm the founder of Web Funnels Club. So I'll explain a little bit later for those who are new to the club. And Hannah.
Of course. Hi, everybody. I'm Hannah. I have been working in mobile for over a decade now. I've been building web to app flows for that entire time. It's always been a huge part of our mix. I now run a growth agency called Aperture, where half of our business is focused on UA and acquisition. So web funnels are a really big part of our business as well. So excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, thank you for joining. I'm Andrei. I'm CEO co-founder of FunnelFox, and why we decided to have this webinar, that a special moment that we decided to launch educational course together, FunnelFox, the Funnels Club, and Aperture, and like share our experience and like practical frameworks on how to launch web funnels. Kirill, can you please share a bit more details about course, what's included and how it works?
Yeah, sure. Let me do like very short introduction. So actually, Web Funnels Club is a program how to build high converting web onboarding, and everyone speaking today is somehow connected to the Web Funnels Club. So I'm the founder. Andrew is my co-founder, is founder of the FunnelFox, and Hannah. We are doing this upcoming together with Hannah. So what's the course about? Like in short, it's a program how to build a high converting web onboarding. We provide you step-by-step guide on from like paid ad setup and creatives to web onboarding flow, to payments, monetization, and paywall. So you will get proven frameworks, real life examples, and benchmark metrics. But it's not just like funnel mechanics. We go deeper to the business layer, technical setup, analytical infrastructure, finance model and LTV prediction, handling chargebacks, taxes, and many other stuff which you should understand when you invest into this business with web onboarding. It runs like a 8-week cohort course with limited number of projects, 10 per group. And every week we provide some pre-recorded lectures and host a live webinar where we discuss questions from every project, and together in group setting we provide immediate expert feedback and facilitate knowledge sharing. So it's a mix of like community frameworks and real-time support. So as a result, you walk away with the web onboarding, which actually converts. And so why we are hosting this webinar now? Because the next cohort start is next week, 20th of May, preliminarily. And for everyone attending this webinar, we are offering special discount, €1,000. So the final price will be €2,000 per project, and it's valid until Sunday evening, because next week we will start it. So that's it. We can go to the Q&A session because we have interesting list of questions lined up.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and we decided to put all questions that we get most frequently from projects and etc. Like most frequent questions regarding web funnels, and answered here so you get better understanding of what web funnels and what common mistakes to avoid, and what the essentials you face when we launch funnels. All right, and you can drop your questions in the chat. Feel free, and we can cover your questions as well, because it's like the most important. And the session will be recorded, and we will send all materials, including recording, in follow-up email. All right, so let's get started then.
Yeah.
Let's start with like a very basic what are our funnels and how does this approach work in a nutshell? Who can answer that?
I'll jump in. So a web funnel, I mean, it is what it says on the tin. You know, it's a funnel that's happening on your website. So a lot of the people here today will be working in apps. They'll be used to, if they're doing UA, for example, sending traffic direct to your app store from your ads. What the web funnel is sending traffic to your website or to a web experience rather than directly to the app store as an interstitial between those experiences. So a web funnel can be many different things. It could be something as simple as a pop-up, like a blog page on your website even, or just a kind of download page that you click to get to the app store or anything like this. But it can be as kind of complex or as kind of exciting for the user to engage with as a quiz style funnel, which has lots and lots of questions on it. So the key with these are that you have a bit more control. That's one of the main things whenever we're thinking about web funnels. So, you know, whenever you're launching your website, you have to go through releases, go through Apple and Google's approvals processes, which who knows how those are going to end up. Whenever you're doing your web funnels, you have a lot more control of it. There are a load of other benefits that we'll go into a bit more for doing them. But one of the main things is control. So I'll pass over to Kirill. You want to add anything?
Yeah, I would add only that there are like two types actually. When you have the payment on the web funnel and when you redirect to the App Store. So the proper web funnel when you also have control over the payment and you accept payment on the web paywall, and then you provide the link to the app. So in this case, you have more benefits.
Even more benefits.
Even more.
The benefit, some of those benefits as well, just to back on that, which we'll go into more, as everyone here knows as well, whenever you're putting your subscription or your in-app purchases in that way through Apple and Google, if you're earning below $1 million a year, you're giving Apple and Google 15%. If you're earning over $1 million a year, which a lot of people here will be, ARR, then you're giving them 30% off your first year and 15% off every subsequent year. So whenever you're putting it through your website, you don't have to pay that. You just pay your kind of payment processing handling fees and so on. So that's one of the main things. And then also, don't know if everyone here was advertising before 2021, but in 2021, the apocalypse happened, and it meant that we have a bit less visibility on our data. So by putting it through our web flow, we actually have a lot more data too. And that's first-party data that we can use to optimize, to learn faster, and to build better flows and products overall.
Yeah.
So lower payment commissions and attribution. Almost 100% of user actions and purchases can be attributed to web funnels, which is probably most important benefits of web-to-web funnels. What else? What are any more advantages of running web funnels?
I know you just said 100%, but I want to position that for people in their minds as well. Like, at the moment, when we're running ads to iOS on Meta, for example, we're seeing that there's usually at least a 1.4 multiplier that we have to apply to reach reality. And we're seeing that consistently up to 2.2 multiplier. And when we've done media mix modeling with some of our companies, we've seen it up to over 4x that we're missing in data, just because of whether it's coming through as a view through or the tracking isn't loading or whatever it is. Whenever we're putting it through the web, then we're having, as Andre said, close to 100% visibility, which means sometimes up to 4x the data passed back, which means we can optimize 4x faster, we can learn 4x faster. Sometimes it's only 2x, but if you can learn twice as fast, that's still twice as good.
But these multipliers, do you mean for scan campaigns or even for AEM campaigns as well?
For us, for AEM as well.
For scan, I think it's even more.
Scan is 10x. Yeah, scan is really underreporting. So we'll just explain what that means as well, just in case. So Meta, for example, launched AEM just over a year ago now, 15 months ago or so. And this is their own probabilistic attribution model, which allows you to have more visibility on the data. It's made up data kind of, though. It's not actually 100, it's not accurate. You'll see whenever you're connecting to your MMP, different creatives will be saying that they had different performance than your specific ads inside Meta or on your custom product pages, which are pages that you can link to from your ads to track another bit of performance. That will also report differently than inside Meta. So it's more directional than actually attributive than it could be. But whenever you're thinking about your actual web flow, this is going to be providing you actual accurate data because you can pass it back through the conversions API to Meta, for example.
But even if the accuracy of this probabilistic model is 100%, the web attribution is still much better because it's not a modeling. And it's not only about how you track your data in the ad account, but what you can track after in the product analytics. So with AM, you don't, it's not connected to your amplitude or mix panel. So you can say that this user came from this creative and what is retention. But with web attribution, you can track every user. So for each creative, you can get retention, for example, on the product, long-term retention. Sometimes it gives you a big leverage because cost per acquisition could be the same, but product metrics are absolutely different because of the creative and targeting, and you miss it with even 100% AM. It's a very big benefit of attribution, I think.
Yeah. In addition to that, also I would add that the subscription retention is much higher in web funnels. For different reasons. The one of them that you take full control of cancellation flow, and it's up to you how you design that. You can offer some win back discounts for customers and just retain them on the subscription and the balanced price and value. Okay. What verticals are a best fit for web funnels? What do you think? Is it for all verticals of apps or
I would say it's strongest where education or trust building is needed before the download more than anything. So if your app is just a torch, you probably don't need a web funnel, to teach someone how to press on or something like this, or a calculator. But if you're in health and wellness, maybe if you're in fintech, if you're a relationship or mental health app, learning, edtech, habit forming, things like this, these tend to require some trust building with the user. They tend to require some education. But to be honest, I have seen it. Web funnels in general perform beautifully from everything from B2B productivity tools to skincare app, like skincare improvement app subscriptions. So it's quite broad, but just think about, do you need to educate someone about your product really and build trust with them before they will use it as well?
Yeah, what's your point?
I'm trying to come up with idea how to promote the torch with web onboarding, but I would say that it depends on the realization. So because there are quizzes, and quizzes, you can apply quizzes to health and fitness, to education, actually to anything. If your product could be wrapped up as some course, for example, then definitely you can use a quiz. It could be a course on how to lose weight, how to exercise, how to find a love partner, and so on. So how to get rich and so on. So quiz will be a great fit for such apps. But for utilities like Torch or I don't know, Cleaner, VPN, and so on, it's a little bit tricky. You either should find some angle, for example, geolocators. There is an angle when you can check if your partner is spying on you or something like that, and there is a quiz angle So it depends. Can you invent such angle? For example, for cleaner or for torch, probably it's not a quiz, but it could be some advertorial where you explain that there are like, or could be a listicle 5 best torches in App Store, and your torch is number one, and you like provide some benefits and so on. So actually, web could be applied to any product. Then it depends: will it be quiz? Will it be quiz with payment, or it will be just some website and then the link to download the app? Because again, if it's not subscription, for example, it's game and with some in-app purchases, so you can't like end the quiz with a paywall. But anyway, it could be the quiz where you like try to personalize the character, or you are trying to check what type of games user prefer, and what environment and what game mechanics, etc. So, and then you just provide the link. It also could be applied. So I think that it works for any app, but in some niches it's very natively, and there are many examples, so you don't need to invent and you can just replicate. But in some other niches, you still should invent. For example, in photo editors, 6 months ago, there were no any web onboarding, but now there are some examples when they invented how to apply quiz to photo editor and it works. So I think it depends.
Some time ago, I tried to.
Go on.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the example of the listicle as well that you said. We've had a lot of success with doing these two. And the benefit of those is, yeah, you can send traffic there, but this will also help your performance, your search performance too. So whenever we're thinking about listicles, or for one of our companies previously, we would, it was a knowledge hacking app. We would put together lists of the people's top books, for example, like Elon Musk's top 5 books, because this is actually something people were searching a lot. And this helped us warm up traffic, and actually the people that would download. So we weren't collecting payments directly from that page. We had flows from there, but we also on mobile had a mobile download banner. People who would download from a page like that had a much higher conversion to paying, like 4x what organic would be coming from one of those pages. So you're priming people, and that's another really important thing. So you're positioning the product inside their mind. So when they're coming into your flow or coming into your journey, they have a bit more of an understanding than sometimes just bouncing onto an app store listing for a few seconds, or less than a few seconds at times, and downloading from there.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Yeah. I just was about to say that some time ago I tried to come up with some like criteria or framework to understand if your product like can apply this quiz strategy for open boarding, and realize that like if your product implies different use cases, different segments of users with different like jobs use cases, you can try to apply quizzes just to personalize your product to these use cases. And this is how it works. For example, for photo and video projects that Kirill mentioned, they just stop promoting just video and photo effects, but start thinking about the use cases and what these video effects and photo effects are for, yeah, and how can they use for what cases they can use these effects and so on. And in this case, you can apply these quizzes. We have a few questions from guys. It's an interesting question: how effective it could be for finance SaaS up compared to health and fitness apps? What do you think, guys?
It depends on what is the finance SaaS. So because it depends on the angle. Again, if it's some like budget app, definitely quiz will be good fit. If it's some B2B SaaS, it's more difficult. But I've seen good quiz onboardings even in B2B niche. For example, some tools like, not like haircuts, but similar, when you can like add creatives with UGC. It's actually B2B, but I know few examples of such tools. They're using quiz onboarding with standard web paywall, and it works very well. So it depends. Probably if you can clarify the finances, we can come up with some ideas.
Yeah, usually fintech apps like already use some kind of like survey or like questionnaire that gather information about the users for onboarding for like KYC and so on. And had previous experience with fintech with scaling them. And I remember that for us it was like strategy to unlock affiliate traffic with web version of onboarding. Not selling a subscription, of course, but some financial services sometimes sell subscription as well. So you can just not just unlock different acquisition channels, but also sell subscription on web, like holistic flow.
I think you can also think, do you have an onboarding in your product in general? Like, do you have an onboarding inside your app? If you do, then you can have that onboarding on web. A lot of companies that we work with actually just replicate their mobile onboarding to begin with and have that on web instead, because we just mentioned quite a few of the benefits, but the benefit isn't just higher conversion. Sometimes it's about that data. It's about being able to map what happens inside the product and things like this too. So with the finance SaaS, I saw Dimitri write B2B SaaS are using onboarding to segment users into sales teams, but also what is the onboarding flow inside the app already? So I would start there. If you are curious about getting started, you don't need to reinvent the wheel from what you've already got. You can replicate what you're already doing online if you're seeing success with it. If you have a flow inside your app and you don't think the conversion's very good, or it's not standing up inside the product, it's probably not going to work on web either. But if you are seeing good conversion and your app is going well, your mobile app is going well, then think about how you can translate that onto web too.
Yeah. Another question regarding the quiz funnels. Like short funnel, like 20 questions compared to long funnels, like 50 plus. Which is better? What's the difference that makes sense?
I don't think there is a better or a worse. We just have to think about it like, what are the questions rather than what is the length? What are we asking? And do we feel from those questions, are we having any drop off and things like this as well? Some of the quizzes that we've put together or that I've also been through have 50 plus questions, or they have an initial 40 and then they've got some additional questions coming out afterwards after it's doing its analysis section and things like this. So it actually gets up 50 plus. The thing whenever we're having much longer quizzes like this is you're building up quite a lot of momentum with that user. You're building up like the desire to want to find something out. And usually what happens at the end of the quizzes is you have to pay, or you have to take out a trial or something to get the answer to something. Like I was going through one earlier today about an astrology one, and at the end of it, it's like you're going to pay to find out about your compatibility with your partner. Is it going to stand up to that? Like, are you actually delivering on that promise afterwards? Because for some of these flows, you might have 50 questions. You might ask someone to pay at the end to reveal the answer, and you might get that €1 or something. But if you don't deliver on that promise after you've built up 50 questions worth of demand, then you're going to have a very high churn too. So you might have a very high conversion on €1, and maybe you're happy with that, getting €1 from loads of different people. But then you might also have a very high churn too. So think about what's the quality that you're delivering afterwards, and then think about what it is you're asking. Do you need to ask that many questions up front, for example?
Thank you. We also have materials in our course with a framework how to craft web onboarding. So it explains like the one length of onboarding for different type of products.
Actually, it's very popular questions about the the long
Yeah,
onboarding into our masterminds, because usually when you just start to think about it, it's very controversial that you should ask a lot of questions, because like average time from click to purchase on popular web onboardings is around 10 minutes, which is very strange. And for example, in my experience, we had 20 minutes, and when I realized that, so we set up a list of experiments how to shorten it, and all of them failed. So we tried to make it shorter, but everything failed. And there are another experiments when we just added more questions for research, even not to convert, but to understand better our users. And sometimes we added like plus 25 questions just to understand and research, and it did not affect conversion at all. So it just added about 2-3 minutes to the conversion time, but conversion rate was the same.
Yeah, good to know. We shall also ask, shall we start Web2App funnel directly for new app or startup?
I think you can launch it at any time. You know, if I'm working with some products that before they've even launched, we're launching the app. Before they've even launched the app, we're launching a web funnel to test out propositions, to test out which directions are going to be working. That's very common. But also, if you have an established product, it also makes sense to launch one at that point as well. You know, the best time to launch it is yesterday, really.
Yeah, that's true. So more and more products just launch web funnels without even launching a mobile app. Just validate the hypothesis and validate the idea that it work out. Okay. With this new thing from new Apple ruling with web payments in iOS, what do you think? Does still make sense running and launch Web2App funnels?
Yeah, definitely, because we discussed attribution benefit. It's actually commission is not the most important benefit of web onboarding. So attribution and this smooth personalized flow is main benefit. And probably with web payments web in-app payments, it will be even more interesting when you have web onboarding. And now popular when you on the web onboarding, when you charge for subscription and then you have few upsells. So now you can move these upsells to the app. You can sell the subscription on web onboarding, then you download the app, and you still can upsell this user to something else without paying commission to the App Store. So I think it makes full sense right now.
Absolutely. And for everyone, just in case you don't know, what happened two Fridays ago, crazy that it's been 2 weeks, was US only as well for now. So there are other countries in the world too. And so it does make sense to continue thinking about this. Other countries might follow suit, but at the moment there's the global majority that we can still be targeting, that we still can't link out from the app or still can't do web payments inside the app or anything like that. For reference for everyone, it means now in the US, you can link out from your app to a payment flow, but you can also have an Apple Pay button inside your app, for example, and not disrupt your actual organic flow. You can have that normal flow inside your product and just not be paying that same level of commission to the App Store and the Play Store. So it's a significant difference. But we can't forget about the rest of the world. And as Carol says, attribution is one of the biggest areas that this is impacting. So we do want to make sure that we're prioritizing that too.
Okay, great. I agree with you. It's still relevant, yeah, and even more. By the way, I had the idea that probably it would make sense to test like soft paywalls in web onboarding right now. So you can like skip it for some segment of users and allow them to download the app first and charge them in the app with the web payments. So you like will have the whole attribution, the whole like the same flow with quiz and web onboarding, but some of the segments of the users who are not willing to pay in the web onboarding, so they're not convinced enough and want to try the product, you can like easily to redirect them to app and do them there. All right. So we understand what the web funnels and what the benefits of that, and we decide to launch it. Yeah. And what's the like moment, the right moment when to launch web funnel? What do you think? Let's say if you have an app, yeah, if you have mobile app in App Store, and what's the right moment to launch a web funnel?
So you can, as we discussed, you can run it immediately. So it depends on your, like, if you have if paid ads is the main channel for you. So because if you are going to grow without paid ads, then you don't need web onboarding. So, but if you are going to grow with paid ads, web onboarding will be very efficient in comparison to direct acquisition. So, and if you have the app and probably you already have some direct app acquisition, it's good because you already know your target users, your top performer creatives. So you can start with many known variables. But if not, still web onboarding, it's better to start with web onboarding than with direct app acquisition, because you should do the same thing. You should test creatives, but it will be much easier to test it with web onboarding. You should test onboarding. You still have onboarding in the app, so no one asks about should I have onboarding in the app or not. But a few years ago, no one had onboarding. It was just a paywall. So now everyone has this onboarding. So yeah, you will do the same thing with an app or with web onboarding. So you can run it anytime.
I think that's especially true if you're already spending, then there's no time like now to test it. You do need some resources to be able to do it if you're trying to do it internally, but there are also tools like FunnelFox that will help you just build it. I mean, they even have an AI builder now, which you can put your URL in for your App Store listing, and then it will just build you a funnel in literally like 1 minute. It's crazy. It blew my mind the first time I saw it. But if you're not using a tool like that, then you can build it internally, and as long as you have the resources to do that, then now is go time, really. So if you're spending, then you've already got some creatives, hopefully that you know are working, or you're at least you have an experimentation process set up to get those creatives and discover your new creatives. I would just use the same best creatives that are working on mobile to begin with on web, because ultimately the majority of the traffic that you're going to be driving is still going to be mobile traffic. They're still going to be on their phones, most of these people. The actual experience of engaging with the ad itself isn't going to be any different. They're just going to link out to a URL instead of to the App Store. So there is no time like the present to get started with it. As I say, we've been building these flows I've been building them for over a decade, and it's always been a huge part of our mix, doing this and sending traffic to the websites in that way. And one of the other things Carol mentioned, it was if you're doing paid ads, but also if your acquisition strategy is also through SEO, for example. I've grown quite a few products, even mobile products, with SEO strategies. If you're acquiring people in that way as well, web funnels can make sense there, and educating people through that web journey is really effective too. Like if you go on Duolingo's website, for example, they actually aren't even on your mobile. They're not even directing you to download your app. I'm auditing a lot of apps at the moment, and I went on one recently in a session with them. And I was like, why you're asking me to help you increase how many people are subscribing on your website, but still you've got literally 3 banners visible on your mobile screen that are telling me to download. Like, don't just remove those. If you want to have one, have it. After someone downloads, then remove that banner. But don't push people necessarily to the app if you're seeing good conversions on web and you're seeing opportunities there. So back to Duolingo, whenever you go on their website, they don't even push you to download the app. They just say, let's go. You go through this web onboarding on their website, asking loads of questions, putting you into a first lesson. They don't even actually ask you for money up front. like that's so far down in the journey, because they know like once you've actually activated, you're using the product a bit more and you've engaged and you've done a lesson, then you're going to be much more likely to do that. So that's a really good one to go through too, that isn't asking for payment up front.
Yeah, great. And you mentioned tools, and in general, what's the like tech stack and the tools I need to launch a funnel?
Well, you need a tool called FunnelFox.
Yeah, FunnelFox, okay, funnel builder. Yeah, I would mention that also. Of course, you need to get like a payment provider and payment like accounting payment provider. So
you've got that decision to make. Like, do you want to do DIY, do it yourself, or do you want to go after a merchant of records style setup? So when we're thinking of DIY, do it yourself, you have a lot of things that you have to be managing for yourself as a part of that as well. So just for reference, like you're going to have to think about the payment provider. Are we using Stripe? Are we using Prime? What are we using? You're gonna have to think about chargebacks. So that's when someone didn't realize that they're subscribing and then they're asking for their money back. You're gonna have to think about tax compliance in every single place that you're advertising or that you're acquiring. Sorry. So for reference, if you are selling subscriptions in 20 different countries, that means you're gonna have to do 20 different tax returns with digital products. That's how it works. So there are all of these different things. There are many more things, but so whenever you're doing DIY, you have to make sure you're set up to do that. Otherwise, you can get penalties, you can get fines from those places. So it's not all kind of sunshine and rainbows. Or you can go after a merchant of records setup. So companies like Paddle, for example, and they will do all of that stuff for you. They charge a slightly higher percentage than Stripe, for example, but actually in aggregate, it's lower cost to you as a business because they're managing all of that stuff for you. So I would say first your decision is, am I doing DIY or merchant of records? And then if you're doing DIY, then you think about how you're going to be doing all of that stuff. What's your accountant saying? How upset are they going to be with you? Or you pick a merchant of records. So as we discussed, and then we need to make sure that we've got our way of analyzing. So do we have upfront for the tool itself that we're using, or for the pages that we're building, if we're building that flow ourselves? Because a lot of companies too are custom building in-house these flows. So are we able to actually analyze how are we passing that data back? Are we using product analytics tool? Are we using GA? What is it? And then also, if we then are going into our app, then making sure that all of that's being passed through. So Mixpanel, Amplitude, some kind of product analytics tool for us to be able to do that analysis. And then, of course, whenever we're thinking about if we're advertising on Meta, then we need to have the conversions API or similar setup so that we can pass that data back and get server to server data visibility on everything that's actually happening. What have I missed?
Yeah, it can sound like overwhelming with a lot of details. Yeah,
it's easy.
But yeah,
we'll
guys,
put out a worksheet.
Yeah, and we cover all these details in the course, and with the back a lot of details how to choose a payment provider, merchant of record, or like PSP. All those details we'll cover in materials in our masterminds. So feel free to join. Do you want to add anything?
I probably add regarding MMP, because it's interesting with web onboarding, almost no need of MMP. You still need it only for like connecting web onboarding with application with some deep linking, and some MMP providers like AppsFlyer and others make it easier, but you don't need MMP if you run ads to web onboarding. So
it's a good topic, because we have another question from Jochen. Does Web2App solve the attribution problem for iOS? If so, how? I think we can cover in this this question here. So, like, why you don't need to need MP in Web2App?
Because
actually, how the attribution works.
Yeah, you use like standard old web attribution with cookies and so on. So you with URL parameters, you pass everything in URL, Then you have cookies, and attribution works the old way, how it worked for websites. So you can track every click, and then you can pass parameters to your Amplitude or GA or any system, and it's enough. So, but if you run direct app campaigns, you lose all attribution because there are no any cookie center URL parameters. There is only link to App Store and then Apple with limitations, and then there is only modeling. So you lose everything. So, and yeah, there is a Web2App way when you don't have the proper web onboarding with the payment, but we just use the web to pass parameters and then to redirect them to download the app. In this case, you can use this, for example, one link from AppsFlyer to pass these parameters, and you can actually recover this attribution, and because you can pass these parameters to AppsFlyer and then back with conversion API back to the ad network. I'm not sure if it's clear enough, but yeah, it works this way.
Yeah,
We got a yep.
clear. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we just covered like tool set, and let's say we decided to do the funnels with the funnel builder, like let's say Funnel Fox, yeah, and choose like Pedal for payment process. What team do they need to launch and run with funnels to scale them with like more volume? And what resources, what team I need to at each stage from the launch and scale and so on.
If I'm using those tools, the team that I need is not a big team, really. I'm working with teams of one that are doing all of this stuff themselves, but they're people that get shit done. So, but otherwise, what you need is someone that has a really good sense of design, kind of to know what's going to work, someone that is good at copy. Maybe this could be the same person if they're a unicorn, but someone who can do a little bit of data work at the beginning, just to make sure things are all set up properly, that you're integrating things properly, or just the technical implementation of it. And then just someone who can do strategy behind everything. So how do all of these pages work together? So in a lot of cases now, that will be kind of a group of kind of 1 or 2 or 3 people that can do all of that stuff. You don't need a big team or a lot of resource to get started with this, to have one funnel going live, and then of course someone to run ads. So then everything that goes behind the ads are the kind of are a big production. So making sure you've got all of your creative coming out, the copies going out, you're testing, you're reporting on all of this stuff. But for the funnel part itself, it shouldn't be too big a lift if you have the correct tech stack and tools in place for that, and you can get something live very, very quickly. I mean, I just mentioned that AI builder, like you could get something live in a day or 2 very quickly with that and be up and running with your ads. So that's the thing to balance. A lot of teams are still doing it in-house, and if you are doing in-house, then you're going to require a lot more time, most likely a lot more investment, because you're going to need to pay an actual designer to actually design all of this, instead of doing kind of a WYSIWYG building dev to actually build all of this stuff for you, and so on. So these are the main things that it's helping with. It's going to help you with time and resource to use one of these tools.
Yeah, I agree. Based on my experience, like teams of 2-3 people using these tools is enough. I also know solo founders who are doing this alone. So actually, it's a question not about the team members, but about roles. You need someone who is like the owner of the whole strategy, who understands the financial model, LTV, cost of acquisition, etc., etc. So, and he manages different people inside the team, and there is role of user acquisition and creatives. There is a role of someone who is building the funnel and experimenting with the funnel with prices, and that's it. Then there is like analytics stuff, technical stuff, but usually these people can handle different roles.
and 2 or 3 people usually is enough. So 1 is very seldom, because you need to put on a lot of different hats and different expertise, and usually it's different expertise. For example, there is someone who is good in paid ads, but he never done product tasks, web onboardings, and payments experiments. But yeah, it depends again.
Yeah, thank you. And what about budget? What budget do you need to, let's say, to launch it and to understand that it's good enough to scale, so you can able to scale it, or just scale it?
Ultimately, it's going to be different for every product. You still need to be thinking, if just for the sake of Meta being the biggest advertising platform, for Meta, you need to be still getting 50 conversions per week to be able to optimize your ad set. So what is your CPA going to be for whatever you're optimizing for? We need, let's say it's 20 for the sake of simplicity. 20 times 50 is 1,000. So you're going to need 1,000 a week minimum for your ad spend to put traffic through there. You're going to need a couple grand for your tooling to get that live, really. And then you're going to need money to invest in the team that are going to be able to do that for you, unless you're building it for yourself. So thinking about that, you're probably going to be spending 2, 3, 4, kind of 5 grand on team and tooling, and then maybe 5 grand on one ad set if you're only going to be launching one ad set and doing kind of a algorithmically optimized testing campaign with your best performing previous creatives. So that would be the bare minimum, really. But to properly do it and to get real results and to scale it up, then you're going to be wanting to spend kind of 30, 40K through that. And you're going to be able to scale that one funnel before expanding out into other funnels up to hundreds of thousands, or if not more, of media spend profitably.
Yeah. Kirill, what's
I
your...
agree. I think safe estimate is like 30, 40, 50K. But again, it depends. It depends on the niche and the vertical. It depends on your experience. And it depends some other players which you can copy, because it's like a game of a lot of different variables which affects each other. So you should find your creatives. You should season your pixel and wait until it still will be optimized. You should experiment with onboarding, with pricing, and you can't isolate and test each separately. And you should experiment a lot. And then it depends if you have some background and knowledge, so you can make these variables fixed. For example, as I said before, if you already spent on a direct app acquisition, so you know your target users, you know their pain points, you know creative, so you can start with them. So definitely you need less budget, because you don't need to test it. But if you just start from scratch and you don't know anything, and you should experiment a lot, so 30, 40, 50K is a budget to run some sufficient amount of proper experiments. Especially even if you know everything, you can copy competitor funnel, copy competitor creatives, but you still there is a big portion of luck, because you run it with Meta or with TikTok. So you should wait until it starts to bring you right audience to the pixel, to your ads. So it depends, but 30, 40, 50K usually is enough to see the good traction and then understand if it's will it work for you or not. But I've seen cases when 5, 10K was enough. And I've seen cases when 300K was not enough. Even when the company copied everything. They copied the funnel, they copied creatives, but they run ads and the CPM is 300. But they know that for a competitor is 25, and you should just wait and try to optimize and test new creatives and season your pixel. So sometimes it's a little bit game of luck.
So yeah, you need to
CPMs
test it.
CPMs
Yeah.
are the one thing you can't control as well. We were working with one company. This is off topic, but we were working with one company and we were having CPMs of like 300. And it wasn't
Oh,
until
wow.
a few months later that we found out that domain. And these are some of the random things that can impact it. Was about 10 years ago, a porn domain that no one could have ever known about. And so it was being penalized, like it in a completely different country. And so Meta was like, this is a bad domain. And it was making the CPMs 10, 20x what they should have been. And so it took us months and months to find this out. And then we were managed to bring it down. But there is some of these things that you can't control. So as Carol says, you can copy everything, but you need to make sure that you have visibility on all of these different levers. And CPM is a really hard one there.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question, I think the last question from our list, and we can switch to Q&A. So what's the like common mistakes and risks with web funnels?
Creative
What's the,
is a big pain. It's not like a mistake, but usually it's a big struggle, not only for web onboarding, but for any paid acquisition. Good creative production processes like a key for any paid ads activity, and even with good web onboarding, if you don't know how to do paid ads and creatives, it will not work. So it's most popular, I think, struggle. But mistakes, a lot of mistakes with checkout experience and monetization part. So sometimes like it's not obvious that there is a very big importance of the checkout. Sometimes you can like optimize your checkout and optimize, not optimize, but choose right prices, and it will change everything, because you will start getting signals from right users who purchase it at these prices, and you will send back it to Meta, and optimizations will be changed. So I think the big mistake is it's like neglecting checkout experience and monetization part.
To build on the creative side of things too, I speak to a lot of companies, and so many of them tell me we're launching 1 or 2 new creatives a month. Like, to give you idea of volumes, that's not enough. Like I had a chat with one company. They've got 20 million users the other day. They're acquiring a lot of users through ads, and they're not happy with the results. And we were looking through the account, and they were saying we launch 1 to 2 new creatives per month. For companies spending a fraction of what they're spending, we're launching 20, 30 new creatives a week, at least for our companies. And so we really need to ramp up the volumes. Like, the creative velocity that we have on these ad platforms is hugely important. And when we were at the Meta event the other month now, one of the things they were saying is, because even when we're targeting broad, and we should be targeting broad, it's still only targeting a very small slice of people. But because of that, the algo now is so good at matching that creative with the right person, but it's meaning that frequencies are increasing. And so the same people are seeing the same creatives over and over again. And so we need to diversify what is that creative, and then we need to be producing a lot of creative to mix it up quite a lot. So that will really help with your production, with your performance. So your creative production will help you with your performance. So totally agree with what Carol said there. And yeah, around the checkout, just a lot of companies are very scared to sell themselves. Like, they have this resistance to trying to sell their own product. And we actually we can build it, but they won't come. Like, we need to sell, and we need to push, and we need to make sure that people know actually what's on offer and how we're helping them. So talking about the benefits in on that kind of checkout section, making sure people are really aware of what they're going to be getting. One of the things that Dimitri, the CEO of Flow, was saying was whenever they started doing monetization after 5 years after launch, they were a bit scared of selling themselves. They were like really shy about it, and it wasn't until they started really pushing their subscription properly and communicating what they get from it. Now they've monetized 25% of their US audience. 25%, that's massive. And so we have to be really confidently start talking about our benefits as a part of that too. But this isn't just a Webflow issue. This is a product issue that we need to make sure that we have in our minds throughout our building journey.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I would also add one more thing, that this is like some risks with payment providers and like Stripe and similar, and you need to do like extra care of your setup to avoid any like rejections and bans from Stripe. We will cover that also in the course. So there are like a few actions that you need to set up at the very beginning to avoid these risks. All right, let's cover some questions from the chat. What's the better time period to test Web2App funnel statistical significance?
Already covered, I think.
We spoke,
Okay.
yeah.
Click to cancel predictions.
Click to cancel predictions from the ad itself.
It's not predictions. It's already known law, so it should be applied like I think it will start to apply from July this year. So you should make a proper click to cancel flow, but it doesn't mean that it's not a catastrophe. So all big players already implemented it. So you should make the flow easier for the user. It means that you don't just provide cancellation flow inside the application. Don't ask user to send some email to cancel subscription. But if you
call to engine, speak with engine to cancel subscription.
Yeah. So it's not
a big deal.
A catastrophe. So
it doesn't restrict anyhow to apply like cancellation surveys and offer some like discounts in the flow. So it's not a big deal. Do you have any examples of web funnels without payment?
I would provide example of Ladder. So a good example of web onboarding and fitness.
It's Ladder is the best.
Yeah, so it's like proper onboarding with a lot of questions, but at the end of the onboarding, there is no paywall. There is a link to download the app, and then they provide you a free trial without credit card. So actually, you can use the app, and you can get the first workout for free, and then it will be the paywall in app. So it's best example.
Okay.
Great example, and also just to mention the Duolingo one again, because you can go through that entire flow, do your lessons, and then only if you start to kind of click around eventually, then you will start to see a paywall, but they do not show that to you as part of the onboarding flow.
Another question from Sneha. Well, when will the product demo begin? I mean that it's like referring to like So it's like if you mean the product like application, like it's after the purchase, after the web onboarding. What customer acquisition cost range can we expect if we run a web funnel?
Depends on the vertical, on the geography. So something like if it's US, but again, it depends on the vertical. It could be $30, so it could be $80, and depends also on the pricing, because you can charge cheap or expensive, and cost acquisition will be different, but LTV also different.
Yeah, but it's like usually it's slightly higher than in app campaigns, but in web funnels, OTV is higher, so you can get a positive economics in web funnels.
It really depends as well. Sometimes it's higher and LTV is higher. We have some of our products with much lower on web campaigns as well.
Cool.
So that's totally possible because of the additional visibility. And another thing that you can think about when you're putting to Web 2, which we haven't mentioned, is on Meta, they have a web and app section that you can optimize to web and app at the same time, which means you'll capture attributions inside the app into your web campaign. So that will be really effective at helping your kind of CAC overall, your attributable CAC to those campaigns too. So we see we can see it to be lower, but it depends on your price and your product more than anything.
Yeah. The question regarding productivity and utility apps, we already covered that. So you need to come up with some ideas how to apply quizzes or something like that for web onboarding, and it's still working for some utility apps. And one of the first projects that scaled with Firefox was utility, which is surprising for me. Yeah. Who should we follow to spot trends in web funnels? Who is the market leader?
Better me, I think.
It
depends again on the vertical. I made a big research on Better Me, so they have a lot of different funnels and spent a lot, like, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 million per month on different onboardings. There is Aliven in mental health. They spend a lot. There is Nebula in astrology and all this stuff. So I can share the list of different onboardings. So I will send it in the chat right now. So there is a list of 311 different onboardings. So you can just have a look.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Hannah, what's your favorite?
These are all fantastic ones as well. I think you can also think about kind of some other Genesis products like Headway too. You're in the chat, Johan. But yeah, you can think about the other Genesis products. They're performing extremely well. And then not to go on about Duolingo, but they're doing an incredible job with this too. These guys are doing more than 10,000 experiments a year. It's significant. And so anyone that's doing a lot of experiments are the ones that are going to be the ones that you can follow. And then in terms of if you're looking for people posting content about it to spot these things too, then following these guys as well on LinkedIn is a really good thing to do too, because they'll be sharing case studies.
Thank you. We have a question from Q about conversion rates, and I will share here in the chat the link to our Web2App funnels guide. That includes like conversion rates, benchmarks, and you can check it out here. I think it will be more comprehensive. All right, and we have one more question. Do you think that in the future a regulator like Apple could make Web2App attribution work the same way as direct iOS buying?
It's difficult, to be honest. So it's not only
to predict the future.
To predict the future and to control the attribution, because it's not Web2App, it's web attribution. So Apple should somehow control the whole web attribution. Probably it can control Safari, and it already does it. But anyway, it can't control it fully. So there are different workarounds. Yeah, maybe it can control cookies, but there are different type of cookies: first party, third party. There are server-side cookies and so on. So I'm not sure that it will ban it.
Yeah, I think it would be. I mean, at Web2App attribution, there are so many tools now, and there are so many workarounds. There are actually even hacks, I don't know if everyone knows about, that can actually make you send your app events as web events anyway. So you can hack the system a little bit and have more visibility on what's going on inside your app, but it's very hacky. But so there are always these workarounds. So kind of regulator, maybe anything can happen. Like things are happening now. Like Google have been talking about cookies for a very long time and what they're going to be. They're going to be hiding all the cookies and things like this. But we aren't seeing all of these things happen yet. So we should be leveraging these opportunities when we can. It's like whenever I was starting to advertise companies on paid ads 10 years ago, companies genuinely thought that 5 pence per install was too expensive. Like, what? Like, if we were seeing those numbers now, we would be putting all of our money in there. But that doesn't happen anymore. And so we have these opportunities now. So we should be, you know, we've done our exploration and now we should be in exploitation mode, like use these opportunities while we have them too.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. So summing up, we covered like what web funnels are, and they be your like a very powerful strategy to unlock your app revenue, and in terms of attribution, in terms of like commissions and so on. As you can see, there are a lot of like tiny details and pitfalls that you need to avoid, and like join our course to learn more like frameworks and all these details, how to like save your budget, save your time with that, and launch like your funnels effectively, quickly, and with less budget. And we'll also offer like a special offer from FunnelForce for projects who participate in the course. And our time limited offer also is applicable, and don't miss out that opportunity. Thank you, Kirill. Thank you, Hannah. It was very great chat. Really enjoyed it, and thank you for your experience.
Thank you for hosting.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Thank you guys for joining. Yeah, thank you for your questions. See you. Bye.